She Who Awakens by Alina Chamberlain. The ecosystem and local immunity. Sphincters, chronic inflammation, and postcoital complications. A woman's journey toward radiant health and full orgasmic expression requires an internal environment free from chronic inflammation and pain. Recurrent urogenital infections, such as cystitis, thrush, and bacterial vaginosis, are not merely isolated medical anomalies to be treated indefinitely with antibiotics and antifungals. Instead, they represent a deeper structural failure. When the pelvic floor muscles lose their tone, the body's mechanical defense lines collapse, disrupting the delicate local microbiome and leaving the urogenital tract vulnerable to pathogens. Intimate gymnastics directly addresses these structural roots, restoring the body's natural defense systems to cultivate lasting urogenital immunity. The anatomy of infection. How mechanical weakness destroys local immunity. To understand why infections become chronic, we must examine the physical barriers that protect the female pelvis. The vulvovaginal and perineal regions naturally host various bacteria, including flora migrating from the adjacent rectum. Under optimal conditions, these bacteria are barred from entering the urinary and reproductive tracts by two primary skeletal gateways: the bulbospongiosus muscle, which seals the vaginal entrance and supports the urethral sphincter, and the external anal sphincter, which maintains posterior closure. When these muscles suffer from hypotonic atrophy, the sphincters remain perpetually slightly open and relaxed. This creates an open doorway for pathogenic bacteria, most notably Escherichia coli E. coli, which migrates from the rectum and is responsible for roughly 98% of all chronic cystitis cases. This vulnerability is further exacerbated by structural shifts within the urinary tract. The shortened urethral pathway. In a toned, well-supported pelvis, the urethra measures approximately 5 centimeters in length, providing a long, narrow defense corridor. However, as the pelvic organs sag due to weak muscular support, the urethra stretches, widens, and shortens to a mere 2 to 3 centimeters. This provides an incredibly short path for bacteria to enter the bladder. Urinary stagnation. Due to poor pelvic floor tone and compromised nerve signaling, the bladder often fails to empty completely. Residual urine pools and newly formed pockets of the sagging bladder wall. This stagnant urine, combined with E. coli entering through the loose sphincter, creates a perfect breeding ground for chronic infections. The vaginal shift, a parallel process, occurs within the vaginal vault. When the vaginal introitus remains unsealed due to a weak bulbospongiosis muscle, opportunistic pathogens enter easily. While the natural vaginal environment is highly acidic to neutralize foreign bacteria, its self-cleansing capacity is not infinite. Chronic muscular stagnation starves the vaginal mucosa of rich, oxygenated blood, leading to poor mucus production and a drop in protective lactobacilli. Stripped of its cellular nutrition, the local ecosystem breaks down, allowing thrush and opportunistic vaginosis to take hold. Target specific for restoring urogenital immunity. Resolving chronic urogenital infections requires transitioning the pelvis from a stagnant, open environment into a dynamic, highly oxygenated fortress. This transformation is achieved by prioritizing specific elements within your intimate gymnastics training. 1. Strengthening the bulbospongiosis muscle. Your primary physical goal is to restore the resting tone and mechanical closure of the external sphincters. Rebuilding this superficial muscular layer creates a firm barrier that physically blocks the migration of pathogens into both the urethra and the vaginal vault. 2. High oxygen diaphragm coordination. Pathogenic bacteria and fungal yeasts thrive in anaerobic, oxygen-depleted environments, characterized by tissue stagnation. By syncing pelvic movements with deep diaphragmatic breathing, you enrich the circulating blood with oxygen. This oxygen-rich blood alters the local tissue environment, making it hostile to pathogens, while nourishing healthy aerobic microflora. 3. Active lymphatic drainage. Engaging in a comprehensive, active training regimen under professional guidance improves venous return and accelerates lymphatic flow. This activates the body's natural cleansing mechanisms, clearing cellular waste and moving immune cells directly into the pelvic tissues to boost local immunity. Crucial lifestyle modifications and training hygiene. Muscular rehabilitation must be supported by supportive daily habits. To allow your tissues to heal and prevent further bacterial proliferation, you must adhere to strict lifestyle adjustments. The hygiene matrix for intimate health. Ditch daily panty liners immediately. Synthetic daily pads create a warm, humid greenhouse effect between the labia. This lack of ventilation allows bacteria to multiply rapidly, rendering them highly resilient and ready to migrate inward. Transition exclusively to cotton underwear. Beautiful synthetic lace underwear should be reserved only for special, brief occasions. For daily wear, use breathable cotton fabrics. Cotton allows moisture to evaporate, keeping the perineum dry and creating an inhospitable environment for pathogenic bacteria. Calculate your optimal water intake. To flush toxins and crystal deposits from the urinary tract, you must consume 30 milliliters of pure water per kilogram of body weight daily. Drink roughly 80% of this total volume before 4 p.m. 1600 to keep your kidneys flushed without disrupting nighttime sleep. Eliminate dietary triggers. Completely remove excess salt, refined sugars, smoked foods, and heavy preservatives from your diet. These foods promote the formation of oxalates and phosphates in the urine, which irritate the bladder lining and mimic or worsen cystitis symptoms. Managing flare-ups and navigating temporary symptoms. During your journey through intimate gymnastics, you must understand how to manage active infections and interpret the temporary physical sensations caused by training. 1. The exacerbation protocol. If you experience an acute flare-up of cystitis or thrush, you must immediately pause all intimate gymnastics training. Continuing to exercise during an active infection increases blood flow and oxygenation to the area, which inadvertently feeds and spreads the pathogen. Focus on clearing the acute flare-up alongside your gynecologist. Once symptoms have completely resolved, wait 1 full week before introducing any internal training tools, such as weighted vaginal balls, as these objects introduce an extra mechanical load that vulnerable tissues cannot yet handle. 2. Distinguishing true infection from false cystitis symptoms. When you begin training an atrophied pelvic floor, the sudden movement and contraction of these long dormant muscles can irritate nearby nerves, occasionally triggering quent urges to urinate or a mild burning sensation. This is often a false symptom caused by increased neural activity and muscle awakening rather than a true bacterial infection. If these sensations fade quickly after a session, they are harmless signs of muscular engagement, and you can safely continue your practice. Reversing postcoital complications. A major indicator of a compromised urogenital system is postcoital distress, characterized by pelvic aching, burning, or an immediate flare-up of cystitis symptoms within 24 to 48 hours following sexual intimacy. This distress typically stems from a combination of anatomical vulnerability and mucosal dryness. When the vaginal mucosa lacks adequate circulation, intimacy can cause microabrasions, chafing, and even minor spotting due to friction. These tiny tears compromise the tissue barrier, making it easy for bacteria to colonize the area and enter the shortened urethra during intercourse. Intimate gymnastics addresses this issue by dramatically increasing blood flow to the pelvic organs. This stimulates natural lubrication, eliminates painful friction, pads the vaginal walls, and seals the urethral gateway against bacterial entry. A note on partner health. If you experience recurrent postcoital infections, despite maintaining proper form and training hygiene, you must also consider your partner's health. If a man has chronic low-grade inflammation of the prostate gland, prostatitis, his seminal fluid can carry pathogenic bacteria directly into the vaginal vault during ejaculation. To achieve lasting relief and protect your reproductive ecosystem, both partners should undergo thorough medical evaluations to ensure a clean, mutually supportive environment. Discover the secrets to nurturing your lifestyle and love style at Wish for Love. The electronic version of all chapters from the full book She Who Awakens by Alina Chamberlain can be found at wishforlove.org.